1945, Balboa Beach, California. Mom was a beautiful, shy German-Irish lass of 14 with porcelain skin, wavy brown hair, hazel eyes, and a sweet, sweet smile. Dad was a tall, swarthy, muscular, square-jawed, handsome Frenchman of 18. Renee, my parents' first child, born without a right ear, was the smartest and took on most of the burden. Me, I did not handle it at all well. I was basically a nervous wreck, hoping that I would never be called upon. Looking back at it now, it seems as though I was the one with the handicap. Run into the living room where Mom and Dad sat watching their silent television. We would snuggle into their lap, say, "I love you," and kiss them on the cheek and say, "Good night," and then scurry off to bed. But one night, when I was snuggling into my daddy's lap, he took me by the shoulders and with a strong grip pulled my face away from his and said a little too loudly, "No kids. Big boy, no kids. Go bed." Just like that, I wasn't allowed to kiss him goodnight anymore, or even hug him. I was 6 years old. The bank manager, a rather tall, thin, bald man in a light blue suit, quietly sat across from us behind a shining wooden desk, reading papers in front of him. "Well, aren't we a big boy?" the bald man finally said, looking up from his papers. "Yes, sir," I demurred. "Well, I understand your parents are deaf and can't hear me. Is that right?" "Parents deaf." "Yes, sir. Are they dumb as well?" I hated that word. This is where I found my solace. Alone in the bedroom I shared with my sister Bonnie, leaving the world outside, making up little songs and poems to sort out my thoughts. My worn and scraped brown leather shoes kicking the wood bed frame to keep the beat. It's what I did to make myself feel better. Boy in a box, inside my walls, I built him to protect me. We would search through crackly airwaves until we landed on the Real Don Steele Show, Channel 93 KHJ. It was there that we first heard the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album. Oh, we were transfixed from beginning to end. We turned up the volume as loud as we could, jumped up and down and danced together, leaving the world outside. And we didn't have to worry about the vibrations. Tall, strong, rather silent disciplinarian soon morphed into someone completely unrecognizable. A giggling, cooing, and doting father. This was his baby girl. Dad was now drinking from the Mary Kool-Aid fountain. It was official. Mary had snatched away my baby crown. That night, Mom made Dad's favorite dinner. Ground beef tacos. During the commercial breaks in between Dad's garbled chuckling to crunchy taco bites while watching Soupy Sales dancing with Blacktooth and White Fang on the TV now rolled into the dining room, I said, "Dad, did you see the note I got from school today?" "Ha!" He swallowed. It was always a risky thing to do. Dad didn't like us moving, much less talking to him while eating dinner, watching TV. When it was all over, I looked up at my dad and I said, "Did you have a good time?" He looked down and nodded. And then I said, "Happy Father's Day." He smiled and said, "Thank you," and then took me by the hand, and we silently walked back to the cars, waving at the fathers and sons as we went. I felt so proud to be with them that day. I knew it was a huge sacrifice on his part, and he did it for me. And then I left her in the living room with my parents. I went back to the bedroom to finish getting ready. A few minutes later, I came back into the living room to find Marianne now sitting in a chair next to the TV across from my parents, jabbering away a mile a minute. Blah, 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 blah. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry it took me so long. We can go now." "Well, that's all right," said an animated Marianne. "Your parents and I have been having a lovely visit." I look over at my parents. They gave me a bit of a shrug. They loved television. It was always on, silent, but always on. Roller derby and wrestling were his favorite shows. Gorgeous George Killiquaski, Buddy Rogers bouncing off each other in fake sweaty battles to the dad. Soupy Sales was another favorite. He watched it every night at dinner. I always found it amusing that Dad liked watching Blacktooth and White Fang because First of all, they were really sloppy-looking hand puppets. And secondly, as I remember it, they sounded like deaf characters to me. Oh, Dad. He suddenly woke up. He was dazed and didn't seem to recognize me at first. Mike. Hi, Daddy. How you feeling? He immediately got agitated. Feel fine. Feel fine. Dad, calm down. Dad, you all right? Fine. One time I asked him, do you ever feel it? The cancer. Do you ever feel it inside your body? He thought for a moment, put his hand to his chest, and said softly, I nodded, put my hand on his. I thought, well, maybe I could move to New York, at least for a while. And even though the doctors did say that his cancer could come back at any time, 6 years later, he was in full remission. I guess he was right. Feel fine! Feel fine! Bullshit. My heart stopped, and I couldn't breathe. What? What? No. 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 Not Mary. You've made up your mind, please come back upstairs to my office. But before he left, he turned to Bonnie and me and added, doesn't go away, you know. Every Christmas. Every birthday. Then he was gone. Got out of the car, opened the trunk to get my suitcases. I looked at this stoic tower, this man. I thought, I had so much love and compassion. He closed the trunk, said, safe trip. And he started to turn. I gently stopped him, turned him back around, and I forced him to give me a hug. At first he stiffened and resisted, but then he let go. And he left me. We held on to each other for just a moment, and then, damn it, I kissed him. Take the time to say, it's a beauty spot, a lovely thing to show.